Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Look, if you're like me, you saw this headline today. And if you're also like me, you were really excited by it. Because it captures what I feel is the sort of NDP campaign we haven't seen in a long time. And it's good we're seeing it. Jagmeet Singh, unlike Tom Mulcair, and even to a certain degree Jack Layton, is harnessing class politics to promote a progressive agenda. He is tapping into what Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn have tapped into, for instance, which is to note that we need to put the priority of the many against the priority of the few. And that if we want to have these things that all Canadians deserve and need to have a dignified, secure, good life, then we need to tax the rich. Simple as that, right? It's not everything, but it's what we need to kick off so much of our progressive program. Singh is noting this clearly. The NDP will tax the rich to pay for healthcare. For so long, the NDP has got the question, how are you going to pay for it? And one of the challenges of the NDP in answering that question is that they were afraid of saying we're going to tax the rich. So Tom Mulcair got into this whole mess back in 2015. He said, I'm not going to run a deficit, and I'm not going to tax the rich more, and I'm not going to have program cuts, and I'm going to create new programs. And I think people, rightfully so, were like, Tom, I don't know if that's going to work. And so I think some people were skeptical. And I don't think unfairly so. But Jagmeet Singh is very clear. He says, look, we're not aiming to run deficits, but we will run them if it means providing the services Canadians need. And we're going to cover the cost of these programs by taxing the rich. And here he focuses specifically on a wealth tax applied to those with more than $20 million of net worth at 1% per year. Not on earnings, but on actual held wealth. The NDP will also be increasing income taxes on the most wealthy people, and they'll also be increasing the percentage of capital gains profits that are taxed. Currently, it's 50% in relation to income. Jagmeet Singh is going to bump that up to 75%. He's also going to raise taxes on corporations, and just as key in some ways is he's going to take the current tax code and actually enforce it better. Give the CRA greater resources and tools to tax people under the current tax regime. Even if, we weren't changing the tax code, which we are, he wants to raise more money by actually taxing the people who, make so much wealth, the people in the wealthiest corporations in this country. So Jagmeet Singh is very clear. We're going to provide head-to-toe healthcare. We're going to provide interest-free student loans. We're going to provide good housing for Canadians. We're going to fight with Indigenous people to improve their lives. And along every step of the way, we are going to shift the economic priorities of this country away from the rich and towards everybody else. This is good old-fashioned class politics, and we need it again. This is why Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn have generated so much enthusiasm. Yes, the ideas are important. The NDP has similar ideas, but for so long the party has been afraid of arousing the class consciousness of the 99%, to let them know that they have a unified cause against the rich. And Jagmeet Singh is starting this again. I'm super happy to see it. Again, he noted this in his French ad to kick off the election, that, we're going to ask the rich to pay a little bit more to fund the programs we need. And when he launched the Green New Deal, he noted this as well. He said, why don't we have health care? Why don't we have good housing? And it's not because we don't have the money for it. And it's not because, there's red tape. And it's not because we just haven't figured out the trick yet. The simple answer is the rich control disproportionate amounts of social and political and economic power, and they do not want you to have good healthcare and good housing and good education and good childcare. They don't want you to have it because it doesn't benefit them. And in some ways, it'll challenge their power. So you need a government that works for you. A government that, as the NDP slogan suggests, is hashtag in it for you. In it for the regular person and the regular person's family and those like them, their communities, their families, their friends, their colleagues. And not in it for the liberal insiders and conservative insiders. Not in it for them. Not in it for the multimillionaires and billionaires that cut large checks to both the liberal and conservative parties. Not in it for them. This is much like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders would note very clearly and very openly that I'm not in it for certain people. Those people should vote against me. I'm not here to represent them. Whereas Tom Mulcair very much seemed to want to be the candidate that could get votes from poor Canadians and blue-collar working-class Canadians and white-collar professionals and the Bay Street boys. Mulcair thought he could earn everyone's vote. But when you approach those politics, you alienate people because no one really trusts you. And the political economy of Canada is the rich will never support the NDP. They never will. Even when the NDP runs too centrist for my liking. Even when the NDP takes on a reformist, position. The rich do not trust the NDP. This is why, even when moderate NDP regimes like the Alberta NDP come to power, capital loses their goddamn mind. They lose their goddamn mind because the potential of the NDP to be a radical vehicle for change is never really gone. And so the NDP has to embrace that. And I'm glad to see Singh doing so. Not to mention, above all, it's popular. I've talked about this on the channel. A majority of Canadians support the wealth tax. A big majority, including a majority of conservative voters. Because at the end of the day, Canadians don't agree on, the specifics of Canada's unfairness and injustice. But even conservatives understand that there are some people that are so rich that they distort the political process, that they give their children unearned advantages, and on and on and on. And maybe there's not an agreement about who those people are or how to stop them in a specific electoral sense, but I think they can agree, at least a majority of conservatives can agree, that a wealth tax on the very richest Canadians, those with $20 million of wealth or more, is a good thing. And only the NDP is proposing it. There is a hunger for class politics in Canada. There's a hunger for it. There's a reason why right-wing populism has a lot of disenchanted people. Certainly a lot of those people have prejudiced and regressive views. But those people just need to be reached with a message, which is that yes, the elites are against you. The downtown elites are against you. But the downtown elites are not teachers and trade unionists and workers at museums. The downtown elites are the people who run Canada's banks, the people who run, insurance companies, the people who run fossil fuel companies, the people who run pharmaceutical companies. These are the downtown elites who control your lives and who take away opportunities and freedom and security from you and your children. And right-wing populists don't want us to talk about that, and neither do neoliberal technocrats like Justin Trudeau. And while it's only a start, Jagmeet Singh is embracing the reality of class conflict in this country, and in doing so, he's setting the ground for an exciting campaign that can energize millions. We see what Bernie Sanders has done when he combined two things. One, talking about the things Americans need, education, healthcare, etc., with a open class analysis. And Jagmeet Singh is doing the same thing. The things Canadians need, dental care, pharmacare, on and on and on, with a clear agenda. To pay for these things, we're going to tax the rich. I think this is a great political recipe. A lot of people are counting Jagmeet Singh and the NDP out this election. Tons of media seem to pump up stories that are bad for the NDP and hide ones that aren't. But here's the thing. Jagmeet Singh just had an event this weekend in Toronto with 800 people there. And there probably would have been more, but there were lineups around the block. I don't think that's a sign of a campaign in deep crisis. I think that's a sign of a campaign that's percolating and that's about to start boiling over because Canadians want progressive change, and they know, Liberals, NDPers, Conservatives, and Greens, they all know that the rich are the biggest barrier towards that better Canada. They just need a leader to sell them that vision. Jagmeet Singh, my hope is at least, is that leader.